the Haas heading to Ritchie's for the first time. Then it's Mike Gardner in the Falcon that leads the way. Dan Cox in the Cortina, fast out the corner. Now he comes around the outside of the Falcon as they head down. He goes to the inside, in fact, for the hairpin, and he goes to the front. Then the Cortina leads, but then Mike Gardner tries to fight him back out of the corner. He can't quite do that. Warren Briggs there in the third position. And then it's the Cortina of Neil Brown that sits in the fourth. They're heading then through Palmer, the Falcon, right with Dan Cox's Cortina into the corner, but then through and out the corner, the Cortina much faster, and he pulls out a big gap for the Falcon. Then the power of the V8 comes in, but then he has to go from the brakes much earlier than Dan Cox. If Dan Cox can hold on to this lead through now the next few twisty corners and then down the Bentley Straight, he could have a good chance of winning this motor race, and he's now really putting away 15 minutes for the Historic Saloons again here this weekend. Then Mike Gardner sitting in second, race one winner. Dan Cox didn't even get the podium in that race, and he slides out, kicks up a bit of dirt out of Hamilton. He keeps it to the circuit though. The top four cars really run together. The two Cortinas at the front and the back of the group, and then the two Ford V8s in the middle, the Falcon and the Mustang. So through Williams we go, and Dan Cox slides the car through the corner, and he's got a gigantic lead onto the Bentley Straight. In second there, Mike Gardner under quite a bit of pressure from the Mustang, but then the Mustang doesn't have the power of the Falcon down the straight. The Falcon pulls away as they go down now towards the Rundle corner, and now Mike Gardner draws up alongside Dan Cox into the braking area for the corner, but then the Cortina should be quicker round the turns. But complete the lap here at the centre 300 seconds. Got some cars going 3 wide down the straight. Some of the cars who had to retire in the first race now making their way up through the order, because they would have to start from the back of the grid. And it's a big grid too, because we have 33 cars taking part here in this race. I think a few battered cars won't be taking part, including the Angler that rode earlier on today. Dan Cox then leads still, then he's got a reasonable lead to Mike Gardner as they head into Montreal. Warren Briggs and Neil Brown still all there, in them top four positions all together really. Dan Cox had a 1.6 second lead across the line. How they make their way out of Palmer. Warren Briggs trying to get back onto terms with Mike Gardner as he was through Williams on the first lap of the race. Down the straight, Neil Brown started to lose out in his Cortina. For Agostini they go. Then Dan Cox still got that lead as he powers the car out of Agostini's. Top four running as they were. There in the third position is Warren Briggs, the Australian driver, heads through Hamilton and trying to chase after that Falcon. In turn trying to chase after Dan Cox's Cortina. The car that runs in fifth position is another of those Falcons. That is the number 12 car of Gregory Thornton. He's ahead of the BMW of Jonathan Gum. Through here we see Fortuna sliding it out. I think that from the back of the grid is Tim Davies in the Class C machine. Almost one, I think, got himself to the front of that already. Just go through there. Ken Lark at the back of the, behind those two Angulars. Ken Lark running in his Alfa Romeo. He runs in Class B. I think he is like third in the class. Yeah, a great first lap and a half already from Tim Davies in that Cortina, making his way up through the field. We got a car off smoking quite badly there. That we think is the Triumph 2000 of Richard Cross. Leaders then through Montreal again. There's Mike Gardner. He still runs in second because Dan Cox in the Cortina, number 46, still leads the way. Head through Hamilton, through Palmer, then the third corner on the Snetterton 300 circuit. Then they power down towards Agostini's. There's that Cortina then that leads the way. Gets onto the brakes for Agostini's. Through the hairpin he goes then, and then Mike Gardner almost back over, and then a big slide out the corner for Dan Cox as he now heads down towards Hamilton. Through the corner he goes, slides the car out the corner as Mike Gardner now, he looks closer than last time as he heads now down into Woggies, but then the Cortina so far on these couple of corners, and a big slide from the car that runs in fourth position. That's Neil Brown. He's starting to come under pressure now from Gregory Thornton, who runs in fifth. Then we got Gorm, and then a massive slide where the car runs in 8th position. That's the Cortina of Tim Davies, and now it's putting James Fuller in the Alfa Romeo under a lot of pressure there. The Class B car running in 2nd position is James Fuller. Already leading Class C is the Cortina of Tim Davies. As they now exit the corner, Davies putting Fuller under pressure. Down the belly straight they go. James Fuller going defensive already because he knows how quick that Cortina is, that he's following him reasonably closely. Tim Davies started from the back of the grid. And there's Dan Cox then, still leading the way, but the battle coming on foul for 4th position because Neil Brown gets the car really sideways from Montreal as he comes under, like I said, a lot of pressure from Gregory Thornton as the Bath gets lapped by the 1st and 2nd place cars. The Bath at the wheel, the Bath 850 is John Barber leading Class K7, lapping about a minute slower than the leaders. Dan Cox again slides the car out of Agostini's. Here's the battle for 4th though, because that Falcon of Thornton a lot quicker down the straight. He's got himself onto times now with the Cortina in front of him of Neil Brown. Neil Brown, the Class K5 leader. Gregory Thornton, the Class A leader. FIA rules on that Cortina. HSCC rules for the Falcon. So head now to lap the Bath. And is he going to stay out the way? Well, they're going to catch him in the middle of corner, Froggies. Meanwhile, there's our race leader, Dan Cox, as he heads down the Bentley Straight. What can Carlo in 2nd position do about him down here? Well, it doesn't quite look like Mike Gardner is quite close enough to close it past him. The Falcon there running FIA rules, Class K1. Mike Gardner leads the way. What's happened about before? Well, they change places down the straight as the Falcon rockets past the Cortina. So that is Gregory Thornton making his way up to 4th ahead of Neil Brown. Now there, after he's crashing on lap 1 of the 3rd race, had to start from the back of the grid. Harry Windham has now worked his way up the field. He's got past these couple of angulars that are possibly going to go side by side down the straight. Run the slipstream with there was John Pugley trying to get past Steve Reed as he looks up on the inside as they head into Brundle. But the Mustangs there rocketing down the straight, and there's another car that starts perhaps a bit further down than you might want to. Mark Watts in the K1 car running about 5th, I think, in that class. Out of Palmer, our race leader Dan Cox heads down towards Agostini's. About half the race gone, just over that now. Past a halfway distance then. As he exits Agostini's, gets a big slide on, holds it all together. Heading now down towards Hamilton. Just watching the background to see how Tim Davies was carrying on, how Neil Brown was getting on, trying to fight back at Gregory Thornton. Well, it looked like Thornton started to break away. So it's Cox, Gardner, Briggs, the podium positions at the moment. Then in 4th position, Gregory Thornton, I think. Wait for him to head through Hamilton. There he is. He was the person that was battling with Dan Cox in race 1. But in this race, Dan Cox has managed to lap 2 seconds quicker than Gregory Thornton. There in 6th position is the BMW of Jonathan Gorm running 2nd in Class B. Then Tim Davies runs into 7th overall from the back of the grid in his Ford Lotus Cortina. He leads Class C. Then behind him was James Fuller. There's Harry Windham running in what is now 9th position, his Ford Falcon. There is John Pugley, who's managed to get away massively from the secondary angle. There's obviously a problem there was for Steve Reed because Ken Lark has got past him and Riley drove away as well. So Reed leads the Mustang of Mark Watts. They headed down into Williams. So there's Reed, then Watts, then Simon Benoit in the Hillman Imp is next up. He gets a really good run on the Mustang out the corner, but then the Mustang will rocket away down the straight. Pull away. It's actually Simon Miller in that Mustang, number 19. He is. Leaders out of Palmer, Dan Cox with that gigantic lead really over Mike Gardner as they head down into Agostini's. They turn through the hairpin. Cox doesn't get it quite as sideways as he has done on previous laps in that Cortina then, as he turns now into Hamilton. Is he going to get a slide on this time? not as much gas on the pass, but Mike Gardner really pushing hard in that Falcon, trying to get back onto terms with the Cortina, but he hasn't been able to do it as of yet. What can he do down the Bentley Straight? Well, Dan Cox will push hard through Williams, I'm sure, to manage to get a big enough gap, and I think he will be able to do so as they head out of Williams now. Number 46 still leads. Dan Cox at the wheel. We can tell you that David Hill in the Impus retired, as well as Richard Costa we saw earlier in the Triumph 2000. Robert Rook in a Cortina has retired as well, so about 30 cars still on circuit, which is great to see. Meanwhile, behind we can see that Angular seems to be fading away, fallen behind the Mustang of Simon Miller. Now has Steve Reed, and now Simon Benoit in the Hillman Imp starting to close in on the Anglia of Reed, who runs second in Class C, and Simon Benoit pushing him hard in that Imp. Simon Benoit leads Class E, so they exit Williams now. The Anglia and the Imp absolutely together. There's the 87 car of Simon Benoit, who appears to be slowing down the Bentley Straight. A problem here for the Hillman Imp. The Class E leader struggling down the straight. More lappery for Dan Cox as he exits Palmer, just getting himself ahead of the Morris Mini Class D car of David Donnell. And now Mike Gardner finds a gap up on the inside. A Falcon tight gap. The Mini almost has to stop through Agostini's to allow the Falcon to get through. As they head now down into Hamilton and powering down towards Oggies, they will find the next bit of lappery that Dan Cox slices himself halfway through the corner up on the inside of. Warren Briggs is going to have to deal with this Mini, and he's also going to, well, he's not going to find a way through Oggies. Seems like the Mini was just as quick as the Mustang through there, the David Janelle Morris Mini. There in fourth position still is Gregory Thornton in the Ford Falcon, and now up to fifth position is Jonathan Gom in the BMW, and that's because there's the Cortina. He's stopped on the circuit. Neil Brown has retired, as has Mike Haraska in the Angular, so there's only 28 cars now left on circuit. Now the John Pugsley Ken Lark battle continues. And what is the last lap of the race? Dan Cox already heading toward the victory. Ken Lark pushes really hard on the exit of Agostini's, chasing after the John Pugsley car. This is the battle for 9th position. These guys about a minute down on the race leader. Ken Lark pushing ever so hard. He goes to the outside for Oggies, so that's covered by John Pugsley as they head now through Oggies they go. What can Ken Lark do about this Ford Anglia in front of him? John Pugsley, the Class D leader. Ken Lark running a fourth in Class B. As Ken Lark really gets the car sideways, he took a much tighter line through Williams. Now that Alfa Romeo should be quicker down the straights, indeed it is. He draws up alongside John Pugsley as they head down towards Brundle. That should be a change for 9th position. The Alfa Romeo gains a place. And there are our results. Dan Cox winning by 4.5 seconds in the end to Mike Gardner. Third was Warren Briggs. Fourth, Gregory Thornton. Fifth was Jonathan Gom. And to get sixth from the back of the grid was Tim Davies.